Welcome, friends. I'm Allison Miller, filling in for Terry Stiles this week, and here with my co-host, Jim Hughes.
Thanks, Allison. Sitting in for Terry today. Allison does all of our writing, and what's coming up in the news today?
Well, in this edition of Oxford News this week, the Village Council considers demolition and pedestrian safety, back to school season brings new lunch lines and mornings, and a busy week for the Sheriff's Office, investigating crimes and in an investigation itself. So sit back and stay tuned because you're watching Oxford News this week. The Oxford Village Council is considering whether to renovate or demolish the vacant wing of the Village of Oxford office property at 22 West Burdick Street. At the August 13th meeting, the Council voted unanimously to approve a $4,500 bid to Design House Architecture to provide an opinion on the future of the vacant wing. Those dollars go toward creating an existing building analysis and report, as well as floor plans and estimated cost reports for the two choices. Village Manager Joseph Medora said a lot goes into the potential demolition, including environmental concerns and historic significance. Also during the August 13th meeting, the Village Council voted 3-1 to approve 2 additional non-signalized crosswalks with concrete ADA ramps on Burdick Street, just east and west of M24. The idea behind the plan is that pedestrians are already traveling north and south over East and West Burdick Street rather than walking to the corners of M24, where there are traffic lights along with crosswalks. The Council hopes the new crosswalks will increase safety, especially during busy Thursday and Friday nights. Oxford's Downtown Development Authority was awarded an ARPA grant to fund the project, but the final cost will not be known until after bids are received. The new west crosswalk will be just west of Hudson Street to the parking lot in the northwest quadrant, and the east crosswalk is from the alley in the southwest quadrant to the parking lot in the northeast quadrant. Jim?
Thanks, Allison. In a disturbing report here, the Detroit News investigation into the emergency response during Oxford High School's tragedy has actually prompted increased calls for independent reviews. Most recently, Chairman of the Oakland County Board of Commissioners, David Woodward, told the Detroit News that he will propose this month that a board make a third-party review of such incidents in the county mandatory. Earlier in the month, the investigation found that Oakland County Sheriff's Office refused to participate in the third-party review of its department's response of the 2021 incident. The refusal to participate occurred recently as of January, according to the county officials. Additionally, the Detroit News found that the chiefs of both Oxford and Addison fire departments alleged the Sheriff's Office was late to dispatch EMS units and crews to the tragedy, and that both instead self-dispatched. Oxford Fire Chief Matthew Majestic said the delay cost his department valuable time to develop a plan ahead of treating victims, an aspect of the tragedy he has struggled with for years. The Sheriff's Office denies claims that it failed to summon fire and EMS crews in a timely fashion. These concerns have prompted victims' families to renew calls for an after-action review of emergency response, something that has been done for other school shootings nationwide. After the investigative articles were published, Sheriff Bouchard, a spokesman, said Sheriff would be fully willing to participate in an independent review. The Sheriff's Department conducted a debriefing 1 month after the tragedy and claims that they were previously turned down when they asked to conduct an after-action review. But Chairman Woodward disputes this claim. We will continue to update you on this story as it becomes relevant and we learn more information here at OCTV. Allison?
Sad to hear. And on a more positive note, Oxford High School and middle school students will now have new choices at lunchtime with the hopes of reducing waiting time. The new school year began last Thursday, and as the learners moved up 1 grade, they also gained 1 new line. The Grab and Go line was introduced by the Oxford Community Schools Nutrition Services team this year as a way to maximize the amount of time students have to eat lunch and socialize. The Grab and Go lines at the 2 schools feature a variety of fresh-made salads and sandwiches packaged and ready to grab and go. All the other food options are still available, which include daily specials, fast food and snacks at both schools, and the deli and made-to-order stir-fry at the high school. Students can also pre-order lunches through NutriSlice. NutriSlice allows students and parents to not only select and customize meals, but view nutrition information and common allergens for current and future dates, allowing families to plan ahead. With pre-orders, students can pick up their meals without needing to stop at a cash register. For additional information, contact Nutrition Services at 248-969-5167. Jim?
Sounds yummy. The Michigan Department of Transportation making some changes that will actually impact traffic at the intersection of M24 and Drainer Road in Oxford. Earlier in the month, MDOT, the newsroom, announced that the traffic signal at the intersection of Lapeer and Drainer will be changing the order of when the left turn signal will operate. The previous configuration allowed the left-handed turn movements before oncoming traffic had moved through the intersection. Last week, again, the department changed the signal to lagging, which means that oncoming traffic will move through the intersection before left-handed turn movements are allowed. This lagging left turn can reduce the likelihood of a collision between vehicles and conflicts with pedestrians crossing the intersection. Before the change, MDOT conducted a review of the intersection to ensure it can safely and efficiently handle the high volumes of traffic experienced on a daily basis. To enhance the safety for all road users, whether driving a passenger or even a pedestrian in that area, the department chose to create a lagging left-hand turn lane. Changeable message boards actually will be near the area and the intersection to alert drivers of the new changes. The departments will continue to monitor the impact of the change and maximize road safety in that area. Allison.
In additional motorway news, the Baldwin Road and Clarkston Road roundabout is now officially open to traffic. The traffic control device is the Road Commission for Oakland County's 42nd roundabout. The Road Commission worked with Orion Township to open the roundabout, which is designed to reduce congestion and minimize the potential for serious crashes. According to the Road Commission, roundabouts have been shown to significantly decrease the severity of accidents compared to intersections with typical traffic signals, making roundabouts an important part of Road Commission's safety strategy. With the completion of this roundabout, the Baldwin Road corridor now makes up the longest stretch of roundabouts in the state, with 7 between I-75 and Indianwood Road. The project contractor completed construction on schedule, and crews worked to ensure the intersection was reopened as quickly as possible before the start of school. While traffic can now flow, there are still a few parts of the project to be completed. The remaining work includes installing high-intensity activated crosswalk beacons at pedestrian crossings, which means the sidewalks at Baldwin Road must remain closed until November to ensure pedestrian safety. The Road Commission will also remove the temporary road at Baldwin Court, West Baldwin Road, and Baldwin Road that has been used as a detour during construction. The last part of the project, landscaping the medians, will be finished next year. Jim?
And you know, it's back to school season for Oxford, Addison, and the surrounding communities, and parents and guardians might be learning with pride, or beaming with pride, and ready to share heartwarming moments of their little ones heading back for a new year. While photos can be a great way to connect with family and friends, sharing personal information online can pose significant risks as well, especially involving children. Back to school photos often feature children holding signs with details like their name, grade, age, and even the name of the school. This information might seem harmless, but on social media, it can actually be assessed by many more people than parents might even think. Personal details can be used by scammers or predators for identity theft or even to gain child trust. To protect children and avoiding including personal details in these photos, stay mindful of the backgrounds, as even the smallest identifiers like house numbers, street signs, or school names can actually reveal children's locations and potential threats. The Better Business Bureau recommends being cautious with all that you share, reviewing your social media privacy settings regularly to ensure your only trusted individuals can actually view and see your social media posts. Allison?
Our final story before our usual segments today comes from a press conference concerning criminal sexual activity. Listener discretion is advised. A Rochester Hills doctor has been charged with multiple sex crimes that law enforcement warns could have impacted hundreds of victims. Earlier this month, 40-year-old Dr. Omar Ajez was arrested and charged with child sexually abusive activity, 4 counts of distributing or capturing images of an unclothed person, and more. The charged activity ranges from 2020 to 2023 and allegedly includes victims from as young as 2 years old all the way up to adults. So far, police say they have seized 6 computers, 4 phones, and 15 external hard drives. One drive alone reportedly contains 13,000 videos. Ajaz reportedly placed hidden cameras in changing rooms and held cameras to take videos of people while they were nude in bathrooms, hospital rooms, changing rooms, closets, and bedrooms. The charged incidents stem from a mother with her young children in a changing room at Goldfish Swim School in Rochester Hills last year, but it is believed he assaulted unconscious patients inside hospital rooms as well. Ajaz is currently employed as a contracted position with a company that would send him to different hospitals and previously had privileges at, but was not an employee of, Henry Ford Macomb Hospital in Clinton Township and Ascension Genesis Hospital in Grand Blanc. At a press conference last week, Bouchard said Ajaz is so dangerous because he appears to have recorded and abused anyone, claiming Ajaz could be one of the most prolific and disturbing he has ever seen. The investigation is still ongoing, as searching the overwhelming amount of footage will take an estimated 6 months. Due to the sheer number of victims and difficulty identifying them, police have created an email to contact authorities. Those who believe they may have been victims or have information, reach out to ocsosiu@oakgov.com. Jim?
Thanks, Allison. And in our Behind the Lens segment this week, even with all the bad news that the Sheriff's Office must release in their efforts to keep our community safe, they get to have some good moments too. Take a look at some of the photos here from in our Behind the Lens segment. Host Jay Leno recently visited the county during the annual Dream Cruise and wanted to show his support for a family of Deputy Brad Reckling. Reckling again was killed in the line of duty in June, leaving behind his wife and 3 young daughters. Leno shipped in boxes filled with toys, especially Barbie, since the girls love them. The Sheriff's Office, once they arrived for the cruise, he was able to give them the toys face to face, and they were smiling while that occurred. Once again, some good news there, right, Allison?
Yeah.
Not bad at all. Good to have you with us on the newscast. I mean, we get to read your words and get to see your face on the news. I mean, I know we have had you for a few more weeks, and maybe, I don't know, you'll be going back to school, right?
Yes, yeah.
Now, tell us about your school, because we really don't get to hear about that much.
Oh, yeah. Well, I attend Northwestern University in Evanston, Illinois, and I'm majoring in journalism, so working on stuff that I do here over there, and also English literature.
Very cool.
So, yeah.
No, it's very cool. Like, I mean, sometimes when you have your finals, we always tell you, don't worry about it, whatever.
Yeah.
But she does a lot of the writing while she's on campus there. And she gets the newscast sent here via the email and all that, and we break it all down. Now, I got to ask you this. Where do you do it? Do you do it from the dorm, or do you go to the library? What do you do?
It really depends on the day. I mean, I'm really grateful that I get to have the opportunity to work on the newscast remotely. And a lot of the time it's in my dorm. I know it's a lot more peaceful there than some of the busier sections of the library, but you know, they're actually closing one of the libraries on campus this year to do some renovations, so probably more in my dorm or in cafes or, you know.
We always got to think, because she'll send it late, but really it's not late from where you're at, it's because there's an hour difference, right?
Yeah.
Because you're over closer to Chicago, right?
Yeah. Don't worry if the newscasts come in at midnight. It's only 11 p.m. for me.
She does such a wonderful job. It's good stuff, and we appreciate her. And
thank you.
Carrie's going to be out, I think, maybe another week, and we said, hey, we like to get her on the camera at least once. You've seen her on some of our stories. But, hey, in our last story, the shift into first gear, free food. It's all going to be part of it. I think Allison will have that last story.
Yep.
We have our good friend Dave Kenny. He'll have Auto Talk and Science in the News. And you are watching Oxford News This Week right here on Oxford Community Television.
When it comes to making plans, you are the best. The same way you plan each detail for those moments, start planning to protect you and your loved ones from a natural disaster. Protecting your family is the best plan you can make.
Welcome to this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny, and these stories are taken from Automotive News, and they're all recalls. In our first story, Tesla has issued a recall for about 9,100 Model X crossovers in the U.S. over a trim piece on the roof that could separate, it said on August 21st, its second over the same issue since 2020. front and center roof cosmetic trim pieces might be adhered without primer and could separate from the vehicle, creating a road hazard and increasing the risk of a crash, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said. The recall covers 2016 model year Model X's, and Tesla said a change in process had been made at the supplier in July of 2016 to prevent the issue in later models. The company will test adhesion of the roof pieces trim and reattach the trim pieces as necessary at no cost to the owners of the vehicle. Since 2022, Tesla has been studying reports of issues involving vehicles that had undergone the recall remedy and conducted aging tests, including heat and humidity, it said on August 21st. It concluded the 2020 recall remedy was not robust enough to detect cosmetic roof trim pieces that might detach due to lack of primer. Tesla said it is aware of about 170 reports and claims that could be related to the issue, but it said it has no reports of crashes or injuries tied to the recall. This marks a rare physical recall from the Austin, Texas-based automaker, which usually fixes issues through over-the-air software updates. Tesla recalled about 2.6 million vehicles due to safety concerns in the first 6 months of the year, only behind Ford Motor Company, which has recalled about 3.6 million vehicles in the U.S., according to recall management platform developer BusyCar. And in our second story, BMW is recalling over 720,000 vehicles in the U.S. over concerns of a short circuit, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration said on August 20th. An improperly sealed electrical connector on the water pump may be exposed to water and short circuit, NHTSA said. The recall includes some crossovers, including the X1 and X5, along with some 5 Series sedans, among other models. Dealers will inspect and replace the water pump and plug connector as necessary and install a protective shield for free, the U.S. automaker or the U.S. safety regulator said. NHTSA also said that BMW was aware of about 18 customer complaints, concerns, or field instances, but has not received any reports of accidents or injuries related to this report in the U.S. Well, that's it for this edition of Auto Talk. I'm Dave Kenny. Stay tuned to Oxford Community Television.
Are you ready for some football? Oh, yeah, we are. The Oxford football team opens their match against Utica Eisenhower this week. The team has actually been preparing for the season throughout the summer with features 24 returning seniors. Head coach Zach Line is excited in his 5th season with the team. Said in the Oxford Leader that he's optimistic about the squad. Line said this off season has one of the best attributes to it. The senior group, Line also told the leader that he wants to make sure that when the teams come to play Oxford, they learn who the Wildcats truly are. Hard workers who do the right thing and win games. The team finished 4-6 last year, and Line also believes the team's key feature is their experience with the Wildcats. First home game is September 6th. We'll be there, OCTV. And we'll be there. They play 4 more other than that. They compete again in the Oakland Activities Association Red League, a very tough matchup, including Clarkston, Lake Orion, again, play next month. If you're looking again to attend a game, Oxford Athletics has the card and mobile payment policy at the athletic events. You have to log on there. You can pay, and you're able to attend the game. Again, it's a real convenient way to do it. You don't have to worry about the big lines. High school events are also $7 for those who are not non-students or staff or senior citizens and the age of 5 and under. You get admitted for free. Gates open approximately 1 hour prior to the start of the football contest, and credit cards, debit cards, and mobile payment options will be made available at the event. Admissions gate. Digital tickets can also be purchased before the event. Go to fanc-o to get your football tickets. So looking forward to that. We always do. Well, football fans continued. Several other Oxford teams are getting ready for their seasons as well. The Oxford boys soccer team started off their 2024 campaign with a 4-1 victory over Divine Child. Now they're already playing. The next day, the Wildcats hosted U of D Jesuit, and the 3 goals in the second half, and the team came back to a 3-1 win. They started the season undefeated. The girls golf team began their quest to repeat their OAA White League championship, the title with matches at Lincoln Hills Golf Course and Stony Creek Metro Park. Finally, the boys varsity tennis team is also underway, getting a lot of things started early. The team is still seeking a few more players. If you know anybody that's in that age range and plays tennis, you're welcome to try out. Those who are interested, again, contact Coach Gail Bailey at gail.bailey@oxfordschools.org. Once again, if you know any young students that might want to try their hand at tennis, probably a good idea. Again, watch for a lot of the sports happening here in the fall. We're so excited about that. We're also excited about introducing you to a new sportscaster who will actually be in the booth with yours truly for Oxford football, and he'll be doing sports here on OCTV. He was here before. Again, we'll let you know about him in the weeks to come. Coming back, I do believe Dave Kenny will have another segment, and it's great to have Allison here, not only writing the news, but helping out where Terry has left off. We're back in a moment. You're watching Oxford News This Week.
I taught for 20 years, but I started forgetting my lectures.
Eventually, he had to quit. The early Alzheimer's diagnosis allowed us to take control of the situation.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
Welcome to Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny, and this story is taken from New Scientist. In the middle of the North Atlantic Ocean, geologists have burrowed 1,268 meters below the seafloor, the deepest hole drilled into the Earth's mantle yet. Analysis of the resulting rock core offers fresh clues about the evolution of our planet's outermost layers and perhaps even the origins of life. Earth is broadly made up of a few different layers, including a solid outer crust, an upper and lower mantle, and a core. The upper mantle, which sits just below the crust, is composed primarily of a magnesium-rich rock called peridotite. This layer drives key planetary processes such as earthquakes, the water cycle, and the formation of volcanoes and mountains. To date, we've only had access to fragments of the mantle, says Johan Lissenberg at Cardiff University in the UK. But there are a number of places where the mantle is exposed to the seafloor. One of these areas is an underwater mountain called Atlantis Massive, located near a volcanically active region of the Mid-Atlantic Ridge. Continuously surfacing and melting parts of the mantle give rise to many of the volcanoes in the area. Meanwhile, as seawater seeps deeper into the mantle, the hotter temperatures heat it up and produce chemical compounds such as methane, which bubble back up through the hydrothermal vents and provide fuel for microbial life. There's a kind of chemical kitchen in the subsurface of the Atlantis Massive, says Lissenberg. To learn more about this dynamic region, he and his colleagues initially planned to bore 200 meters into the mantle with the drilling ship Joy's Resolution, that is, deeper than researchers had ever managed so far. Then we started drilling, and things went amazingly well, says team member Andrew McCaig at the University of Leeds. We recovered really long sections of continuous rocks and decided to stick with it and go as deep as we could. Eventually, the team managed to dig 1,268 meters down into the mantle. Upon analyzing the drill core sample, the researchers found that it had much lower levels of a mineral called pyroxene compared with other mantle samples collected from around the world. That suggests that this particular section of the mantle has undergone significant melting in the past, which has depleted the pyroxene, says Lissenberg. In the future, he hopes to reconstruct this melting process, which could help us understand how the mantle melts and how that molten rock migrates to the surface to feed oceanic volcanoes. Some scientists think life on Earth began in the depths of the ocean near the hydrothermal vents. So, by examining chemicals that appear along the cylindrical rock core, microbiologists are hoping to determine the conditions that may have led to life and how deep beneath the ocean floor they occurred. It's a very important drill hole because it's going to be a reference section for scientists for many branches of science, says McCaig. A one-dimensional sample of the Earth cannot provide full information on the three-dimensional migration pathways of melting water, but nevertheless a major achievement, says John Wheeler at the University of Liverpool in the UK. Well, that's it for this edition of Science in the News. I'm Dave Kenny.
In our last story this week, shift in the first gear for free food. If you missed the Dream Cruise or are just looking to get your fix of vintage vehicles, start your engines for cruising down Seymour. This classic car cruise on September 12th is also a free meals fundraiser. The event will benefit Oxford's Community Garden, a space established in 2021 with the help of a 4-county community foundation grant. In its first year, the garden generated over 2,000 pounds of produce. Through the hard work of volunteers, the garden can support organizations around the community, including Meals on Wheels, the Oxford Free Meals Program, senior living facilities, and others in need. The garden grows with water, sunshine, and love, and it can always use a little more green to help with the upkeep and expansion. The Car Cruise fundraiser is here to support the garden. At 3:30 p.m., the cruise will begin at Burdick Street Landscape Supply and Equipment, and the classic cars will then travel through downtown Oxford to Seymour Lake Township Park. From 4 to 8 p.m., attendees can enjoy a 50-50 raffle, music, a cookout with hot dogs and hamburgers, and more. For more information or to volunteer your time at the garden, contact Recreation Supervisor Don Medici at 248-628-1720.
Sounds like fun.
Yes.
Yeah, bring the classic car out at the end of the summer, and yeah, I was down there at the cruise last week. It was pretty big.
Really?
I mean, I know it's big every year down there, but I mean, if you want something a little bit more local, and I've seen that on the programs that we do here, where they have the hot dogs and hamburgers, and it's just a fun day ahead. By all, bring your car out, and before you know, we'll be putting them in the garage.
Yeah, winter's coming. It's scary.
Exactly. Well, yeah, you can't have that car out then, right?
Yeah.
Well, we love having you here. Obviously, we love having you
you
write the news, and I know next week. I mean, I believe Carrie. I don't want to put a stamp on it, but I believe she's out next week, and you'll be doing this again. So I'm going to put you on the spot again.
That's all right. Looking forward to it.
Anyways, OCTV right here can be viewed on Spectrum Charter 191 and Channel 99 on the 191 and 99 on the ATT Uverse system. Check us out on YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, Amazon Fire Stick TV, and Roku, the app as well. That's where I watch, Allison. If you have a show idea, make sure to contact our office at OCTV. Call our office at 248-628-9658. You'd think I'd have this down. I read it every week. A very special thank you to our producer, director, and floor director today as well, Kyle Stage, our news writer extraordinaire, Allison Miller with one Allen Allison, and the station manager, Terry Stiles, who's not here right now, but she is our station manager. For everyone here at OCTV, I'm Jim Hughes, hoping you have a safe week. And again, I invite you back next time. And again, we will take a look at Oxford News this week. Have a great week.
Yeah, enjoy.